Hi, PerspectaWeather.com meteorologist Paul Dorian here on Tuesday, September 29th. A change in the overall weather pattern with cooler air moving into the eastern U.S. The first of a couple of cold frontal systems approaching the eastern seaboard today. Looks like it will result in some heavy rainfall for the eastern states, really from Maine all the way down to Florida. There's a chance for some heavy rainfall over the next 12 to 24 hours or so. This afternoon, the chances go up in the D.C., Philadelphia, New York City area, and that chance increases dramatically in the overnight hours into the early part of Wednesday. Again, can be some heavy rainfall, maybe even some strong thunderstorms, as the first of a pair of cold fronts come towards the eastern states. A secondary frontal system may produce some more rainfall Thursday night, early Friday time frame in the mid-Atlantic region, the eastern part of the nation, and that will bring in a reinforcing cooler air mass for the upcoming weekend. It looks like highs on Saturday and Sunday, generally in the 60s in the I-95 corridor region of the Mid-Atlantic region, which is quite a bit below normal for this time of the year. A quick look at the tropical scene, quiet as we come to the end of September here. We talked about this quiet stretch of weather for at least a temporary basis in the Atlantic basin. At the same time, the Pacific Ocean will experience kind of an increase in activity. This is not the end of the tropical season, I'm quite sure. It looks like we certainly will see some more activity as we progress through the month of October. But for now, a quiet Atlantic basin. Here's the latest surface map, and we have one slow-moving cold frontal system on the map this morning, already cutting through the central part of Pennsylvania, the West Virginia border region right now. Notice upstream a secondary cool frontal system, and this frontal system is very likely going to produce some heavy rainfall up and down the eastern seaboard later on this afternoon into the evening hours and really into the early morning hours on Wednesday. It will only slowly move through. It does turn cooler behind it, but then there will be a secondary frontal system that will kind of align with a weak area of low pressure to cause some more rainfall in the Mid-Atlantic region, parts of the eastern U.S., probably in the Thursday night, early Friday time frame. A reinforcing shot of cool, dry air will follow for the upcoming week. And again, a cooler than normal air mass for this time of the year as we end the month of September and progress into the beginning stages of October. Well, how much rainfall are we talking about here? This is the total precipitation for the next 3 days, but much of it comes with this initial cold frontal system in the next 24 hours. Look at this, all the way up and down the eastern seaboard, really from Maine all the way down to Florida. It looks like this shot of cooler than normal air for this time of the year will result in some heavy rainfall up and down the eastern seaboard. Again, primarily over the next 12 to 24 hours or so, there will be another round with another cold frontal system produces rainfall on Thursday night into early Friday. Notice here, out in the western U.S., just the western half of the nation, really, no precipitation at all expected over the next few days. Well, here's a quick loop of the radar. Not much going on east of the mountains throughout the morning hours. The chance for showers and maybe an embedded strong thunderstorm or two in the I-95 corridor region will go up this afternoon, and then even higher tonight into the overnight hours. And again, there can be some heavy rainfall, especially tonight into early Wednesday, up and down the I-95 corridor region, maybe even a strong thunderstorm or two. But again, right now, confined really across the western part of the Mid-Atlantic region, moves into the eastern areas later today and especially overnight tonight into early Wednesday. Well, let's now take a look at the operational run of the GFS from last night at 6Z. This is the 850 millibar temperature anomaly pattern here, the forecast maps going forward here. And again, we have a cooler than normal air mass already in place across the Great Lakes down through the central U.S. all the way down to Mexico, as a matter of fact. Still warm and quite muggy along the eastern seaboard, but as this cold front approaches, it'll cause a change in the pattern, and that cooler than normal weather becomes evident in the overnight hours into the day on Wednesday. And then notice upstream kind of a secondary push of even cooler air. Again, there will be a second cold frontal system moving into the east Thursday night, early Friday time frame with some more rainfall. And here is that expansive area of colder than normal conditions by the end of the work week. This is Friday morning forecast map of 850 millibar temperature anomalies. Notice also, as the central and eastern states cool down, the west warms up, and this will cause an enhancement of wildfire activity, certainly going forward here as we reach the first full week of October, extending all the way up from the southwestern U.S. to the northwest and even into the southwestern part of Canada. Let's move forward here. Once this cooler than normal air mass moves into the east, looks like it'll last all weekend long. Here we are now all the way out to Sunday. Still an expansive area of cooler than normal conditions from the northern plains, the upper Midwest, all the way to the East Coast, and indeed down into the southeastern states. It'll be cooler than normal. At the same time, hotter than normal conditions out across the western third of the nation. Well, let's wrap up with a look at the forecast surface maps by the 6Z operational run of the GFS, and not all that impressive looking as we begin the day on Tuesday, but you throw in a little bit of daytime heating and suddenly this area of moisture here becomes greater, with indeed some heavy downpours included, maybe some strong thunderstorms. Let's move forward here and notice here by this evening some heavy rainfall depicted here by the GFS model going into the latter part of the afternoon, the evening hours here, certainly at this time in the western part of the Mid-Atlantic region, and then that heavy rain threat shifts to the I-95 corridor region into the overnight hours, and again there can be some strong thunderstorms included as well, and this heavy rain threat will extend all the way from the northeast U.S. down to Florida here, as it is a slow-moving cold frontal system. Generally moves off the coast by early Wednesday morning. It'll turn cooler on Wednesday, maybe some clearing in the afternoon, and then we'll look upstream for a secondary push and kind of see a little kink in the isobar pattern right in here by Thursday morning. This is where that secondary cold frontal system will exist as of Thursday morning, all anchored by a strong cold Canadian high up across the northern plains and eastern part of Montana by Thursday morning. And that secondary push will result in some rainfall, nothing quite as extensive as the next 12 to 24 hours or so, but there certainly can be some showers. May turn into a little bit more than just shower activity, may become a little heavier than that, and we'll have to watch for that Thursday night into early Friday. And that kind of expands here as that secondary push of cooler the normal air moves in. This is now the Friday afternoon forecast map. We've talked a lot about looking at these thickness patterns as an idea, giving us an idea about the temperature pattern. Indeed, this 540 thickness is the thickness of the lowest half of the atmosphere, from the 1,000 millibars, which is virtually the surface area, all the way up to the middle part of the atmosphere, 500 millibars. The greater the thickness generally correlates to higher the temperatures. The lower the thickness, the lower the temperatures. 540 is kind of an important line that meteorologists look at during the winter as kind of a delineation, a rough estimate of where the rain-snow line may be. And indeed, this is just telling us here that this is chilly air headed our way for the latter part of the work week, and especially in the upcoming weekend for the northeast U.S., the Great Lakes, and the Mid-Atlantic region. Let's move forward here, and that secondary cold front pushes on by the weekend, and we have high pressure in control for Saturday and Sunday with a chilly air mass, cooler than normal for this time of the year in the Mid-Atlantic region, Great Lakes, northeast U.S., really throughout the eastern and central part of the nation. We saw the 850 millibar temperature anomalies. It'll be cooler than normal in much of the eastern half of the nation by the weekend, and warmer than normal out in the western states. That's it for now for PerspectaWeather.com. I'm meteorologist Paul Dorian.